live.
Generally around
We are live.
1800 2000 types. सुबह 1700
Hello.
होता.
Hello. Hello everyone. Welcome to Career Launcher, and we are here with CDC Pro 4 analysis. With me, I have Jijo sir and Shiku sir. So let's start today's session. So what happened in this mock? Let's see. So this is a generic scenario. We have seen this slide a lot of times in every mock analysis. We start with this, so everyone must be knowing this, that what are the percentile scores every year we have. So this is not very important. This is the important point. And why this year we are consistently showing CAT 2020 scores, because CAT 2020 was conducted by IIM Indore, and more likely CAT 2026 is also going to be conducted by IIM Indore. So if you are going to look at the scores of 99.5 percentile, we are very close to 2020, 111 and 108 we got. 99 percentile last year, in 2020 it was 101, and this year 102. CDC Pro 4 was 102 and 97 was 85, and so we are very close, and so I think it is a good mock, and it has given us pretty much accurate data that we wanted. So Jijo sir, Shiku sir, what's your take on this?
Malav, it is these scores happened because thanks to VRC. Okay, if it was if VRC was a usual kind of proc mock number 1, 2, 3, this would have gone really down, easily about 10 marks down. So I think net what would have happened, net it came to that particular kind of a score. So DLR kind of pushed down, then probably what 2020 happened, but this particular the mock, I think VRC would have got the score a little high, is my feeling. I don't know. That's totally
it is true. So
this particular slide is very what do you call? It's not giving the right picture completely. I think when you go to the next slide, I think the picture will be better.
Shivu sir, you would like to add something on this slide?
No, good thing is we had one section that was very easier, right? But I don't know whether it made too much of difference to the percentiles of people. So that is one. One was tough and one was moderate. I think the tough was the DILR. And the moderate one probably was the quant, right? Quant was, I think, a little easier than we thought it would be. But while I was doing the recording, I realized that there are enough greens for people to take. But surprisingly, even when I look at the graph, there are lots of greens in quant. No question has been attempted by more than 50, except for one question. All the attempts are less than 50%.
Shivko, quant was lengthy. Quant was lengthy. That and again it was reminding like the last paper. This reminded me of CAT 25. Okay, so the same thing, unnecessary calculations. What I felt after CAT 25, and that's what I felt after this paper also. That calculation क्यों करा रहे हो, but can't help it. CAT करा रहे तो you'll also have to make us do it. But that is what made the paper. And इसके अंदर ना, when I look at quant, Shashank and I were going through the paper. We felt there were at least 12 to 13 questions which were doable by practically everyone. So even if one does, let's say, 8 or 9 out of them, you are talking about a 27 marks without any problem. So this was I would say not a difficult paper, but definitely a lengthy paper.
This is what percentile score looks like in sections. So basically, 9 question will land you at 95 percentile, and I think that's a decent score. Yeah. But verbal is 41 at 95, Jijo sir. Highly unexpected 95-41 के score पे. So
verbal is compensating for DILR in this paper.
Yeah.
And
I think
Yeah.
Once we go to verbal, I can explain why that happened.
Yeah, Jijo, just one thing before we move to verbal. Now look at the quant part. 99 at 42, 97 at 32. Okay. So to my mind, that's a huge jump. That's a huge jump, and I think that is essentially because people who are able to use some jugaad, who are able to do a few extra questions, are the ones who have been able to break to 40 plus, and the others who were not able to do it are probably the ones who are stuck below that. So to me, 32 to 42 appears to be a reasonably big jump from 97 to 99.
I am looking at this.
So Jijo, your section looks like the France versus England.
Zero ended and our DILR started. So that's the data we have.
The point Shivku is whether it is 6-4, whether it is 1-0. Okay, what
Correct.
matters is that you got to win. You got to win it, right? So one of the things that would have happened is in this particular case is that if you are chasing a particular score, you are assuming that okay, I'm looking at a score of 40, I'm looking at a score of 36, and then you would have died in sort of VRC. The second thing that would have happened is when you see the score, you would have felt very happy. Or maybe when you're reading the passage, looking at the options, when you're solving the questions, you're getting it right, you're feeling very happy. But at the end of the day, one has to realize that we just have to kill the rest of the people taking the test. That's the unfortunate reality of the cat. If the paper is going to be easy, it's going to be easy for all, which means that these, I'll obviously discuss in detail, but essentially meant that when somebody is, let's say, solving 3 RCs and some VA questions or 2 RCs and VA question, from those set of RCs that they're already solving, they're able to get a little extra marks, maybe than usual. But it doesn't change the story that the people who evaluate more number of questions naturally will have a chance of getting high scores compared to others. So that's a reality. I mean, I think we can start with VRC and I can explain what happened, at least in my sense, my analysis of the paper. Yeah.
So Jijo sir, next is this, and this is your section. So
ये my section कैसे हो गया? ये सबका है. It is cat. I'll share my board and I'll do this. It's visible,
just
no?
give me a moment. Let me share.
Now it's visible. Okay. So basically, basically you look at kind of you look at the scores. I don't know what's happened here. This is not working. All right. Okay. Shocks. Okay. So okay. Basically, when you look at this kind of jump, this is so, or let's say something like 26. When you typically look at the 26, that's kind of the 90th percentile usual, and that has come down to about 70th percentile. Means that this particular paper that you find is obviously different, at least in terms of level of difficulty, from any of the papers from 2020 to 2025. Now you can ask a question: will such a thing can happen in CAT? Who knows? You never know. Anything is possible, right? So one thing before I get to this question is, imagine somebody solving 3 RCs plus, let's say, 8 VA questions, and somebody, let's say, solving 4 RCs plus 8 VA questions. Some people obviously don't look at all the VA question, but I'm just giving 2 RCs plus 8 VA question. What I kind of discussed last time is maintaining an average of 8 marks per RC is a fantastic thing. That is amazing, which means you are getting on an average 3 questions out of 4 correct, right? If that would have been the case, in the usual case, on a good day, on your good day, this is getting 8 marks on an average per RC is fantastic. I'm not saying this is a usual case, right? So which means you are able to get about 75% accuracy or anything above that is fantastic. If that would have happened, that would have earned about 16 marks, and from here getting about 12 mark will be fantastic. So which means these two put together is, on a good day, you're going to get about 28 marks. And if I look at this, that's 24, 8 marks multiplied 3, and let's say this is 12, that on a good day that will get about 36 marks. And let's say 4 RC, that'll be 32, plus let's say 12, that'll be about 44. That's where you kind of get in these kind of scores, right? Also on a good day. What happened in this particular paper is, good day happened for many, right? The paper was such that was kind of possible. This was probably possible. Somebody who's solving about 3 RCs and 8 BA questions can look at, let's say, even maybe scores of touching about 40 was possible. All that happened in this particular test, right? That's the only change that happened. I think one other thing that I believe also happened is with respect to the VA questions here, it was kind of possible to get these kind of marks in how this VA was designed. Now, if I look at the paper per se, without looking at the options, if I look at the kind of sources that was picked, it is like any other RC. For example, if I look at the reading comprehension, and if I take the grade level, which is this particular formula that is used, how dense sort of particular passage is, anything about 13 plus is generally considered to be dense. Of course, there are other factors that make a passage very difficult. This is just one of the particular factor. So, for example, number of words on an average per sentences. We are looking at on an average these passages having 26 words in a sentence. That's a long sentence on an average. Grade level is 17.2, 22 on an average, 13.1, 21 on an average, 14.2, 20 on an average, 13.8. So all these passages in that sense were dense. Okay, so and then this was taken from Encyclopedia Sociology, The Guardian, The Nautilus, Eon Essays. All these were the usual stuff. And even if I look at verbal ability, is the scientist, this is journal, this is from Guardian, this is Advanced Science 2, NPR, New Yorker, Encyclopedia Geography. There was no difference from the sources from which all this was picked. What was different is not even the questions. In these passages, it was how options were framed, right? When it comes to reading comprehension, if I look at the distortions that one can create, right? One can create distortions of the options. One distortion, which is let's say the wrong options. One distortion that can create is something like it can be an absolute lie. We can distort the intensity of the passage, which means you change the tone a bit here and there. You can distort the boundary, bringing in alien stuff into the particular thing. All that distortion. But the difficult distortion to pick is what I'm going to call a sidetrack truth. This is a very difficult distortion to pick, which means, for example, let's say the question asks about the main idea. There are 4 options. Every option is the truth, but only one option is giving the main idea. So these wrong ones is a truth from the passage. It is a truth, but does not answer the question. These kind of options are very painful. What happened in this particular test? There were less number of these kind of options. Many of these options were outright lies, which means if I had read this particular passage, I could have easily eliminated at least some of these options, which means if you had invested in a particular passage, it was quite possible to take away 8 marks or even 12 marks in most of the cases. That's essentially what happened here, right? That's what a change. Now, in this particular test, if in some of the passages you're not able to get those 8 marks, the difference between you and the rest of the people would have been very high, right? One big problem with paper, which is very easy, is when you need to chase very high marks. When the paper is very difficult, it's actually a better test. And when it comes to these kind of questions, even something like paragraph jumble or odd sentence, at least one of them, this was not this was not difficult. It was kind of easy to handle. Somebody who's invested a little bit of time can get this right. So what that meant was none of these questions, barring maybe one, was very painful. This was a verbal ability. On top of this, the verbal ability was a scoring one. Anyone who would have invested in verbal ability would have got about 12+ marks. So if I kind of look at the accuracy level, you see, for example, the first passage, I actually felt that this was not hidden curriculum. The way in which kind of the options were framed, all of these were pretty high accuracy level, though I think for some reason the attempt for the first question was less. That would have been the same case with the second one, about 3 of them. The third was also at 3 of them. And the passage where the attempt was low, this is attempt percentage was low, had probably questions which was slightly painful. So if I actually look at, this was a passage that everybody liked attempting. This was a number 2 attempt. This was a number 3. All of these passages, even if let's say somebody was looking at 2 passages, 3 passages, you're able to probably get 8 to 12 marks. This is sort of this is what happened, and this happened because the option lent you. And here, if you kind of made mistakes in some of these options, some of these questions, it would have made life a little costly to you. So for example, when I look at this, from 26, let's say, to something like 31. Let's say that's a 10 percentile jump. 26 31 is a 5 mark. That's a 2 questions jump. Even if I look at 26 to something like 35, that's about 30. That's one question jump. From here, 26 marks to 35 marks. Technically, it's just a question of 3 questions here. So what happens in papers like this, when the paper is very easy, right? So for example, there is not much of a difference here. If you look at something like 49 to 53, this was fine. This was about this fine, but you look at this, right? So one mistake is going to be very costly. So if you were to pray for a kind of paper on cat 2026, you should not pray for this kind of a paper at all, right? And if you actually look at the VAs across board VA, that is, we look at paragraph summary, this one is 46% accuracy, this is 41% accuracy. Paragraph jumble is 41% accuracy, 39% accuracy. Sentence fitment was, let's say, I think the people still made mistake here. I think both the sentence fitment, I thought that it would have been crackable. The attempt of this part was low. Odd sentence this was definitely painful. That if I were to look at one question was painful, there was one question was painful. Apart from this was kind of manageable. So the and 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 of course this is sort of this one-off case that in the midst of all the 15 mocks we are taking, this was a one-off case where the plan was to deliberately design this to say that if someone invested time, that person should be able to get 15 plus marks. Here someone invested time, it is quite possible to take high marks. Actually, in my mind, you should not have made mistake in any of these questions, right? I don't know why people made mistakes here. So that's sort of as a learning that one can find in any of these. I don't know whether I should go passage by passage.
Tijo,
No,
before you go to the passage, just
uh,
one question since I have not looked
uh,
at the paper. If you go to the previous slide, Tijo, the previous
yeah,
one.
sure.
Yeah, this one. Now, when I look at the passages as such, when I look at the word sentence, when I look at the FK level, these look like difficult to read or difficult to understand passages. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was. I think the passage was dense, but here the topic was about the hidden curriculum in schools. So the topic was not really alien, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay.
but if I
So,
look at that particular passage, just to show you, it still had a lot of stuff. It talks about how functionalists work. There is consensus theory. Then there is a
yeah.
conflict theory. Then there is symbolic interactions. So
Mhm.
if let's say if let's say the question was designed with little more extra tempting,
Yeah.
extra pain, this would have gone for a toss.
Yeah, so that's
Uh,
what I'm coming to. I
uh,
hope now students understand why do we say that passage is important, but the choices are the one which decide whether it's going to be a difficult or easy passage. Because if I look at on the face of it, when I look at all the 4 passages, passage 1 is the FK level 17. The others are also around 13 and 14, which is also reasonably difficult to read or understand. Yet people are scoring well. So my first feeling would be maybe the choices were a little easier to handle.
correct.
Yeah. So again, my basic point is the students need to, using this paper, understand that irrespective of the level of difficulty of the passage, it is the difficulty or the confusion within the choices which create problems. So which is why you should not look at trying to understand each and every word in the passage, but go with whatever you understand and go to the question and answer whatever you can. If the questions are easy or the choices are a little more comfortable, you'll handle them. If the choices are a little uncomfortable, you will leave and move on. Okay. Yeah, Joe,
Yeah.
back to you.
So just to give an example, so at the end of the question setter has a way in which design how the distortions are created. If I look at, for example, the first passage, what this was given, right? This is an except question. If I look at this option number 4, this says functionalist and conflict approaches disagree on whether schools sort individuals, which means the school sort individual, there's a disagreement between them, which means one is saying school sort individuals, other says school doesn't sort individual.
Okay.
But it's absolutely clear that functionalist is essentially saying that the school sort and order individuals, And even this one is saying that conflict approach is saying that, see, educations are sorting students. So this is a blatant lie. So this was a lie for one. So that is why it was easy to pick. Absolute contradiction. If I, for example, look at uh, even this one, for example, this question, the symbolic interactionist approach holds each of the following view except. Now there is one option that says hidden curriculum in school operates through formal instruction. That is the rejected in the first one. Elements of hidden curriculum do not appear in schools' written goals, formal lesson plans, and so on and so forth. It is very, very clear. You don't. You. This was a first thing that the passerby. This was also a lie. So the reason why you actually found these options easy had got nothing to do with the passage. Like it merely got to do with how the options were kind of created. Even in this particular case, I can go on and on. You create for example, in this one, right? Just create a really painful option here, but this is kind of very difficult to pick. Just make it very tempting. The story goes for a toss, right? And what I think that would have, I don't know how many of for you that would have happened, that you were on a confidence, amazing, and for this particular question, spend about 3 minutes to get -1 mark. I don't know how many of you fell for such traps, right? And if I look at VA, where was VA? I mean, just that this was very long, but it was kind of easy to pick. You just have to be very careful in terms of, for example, I'm just saying this here. It says if neurons were introduced into xenobots. Xenobots is mentioned. Then some anthrobots is mentioned. Then they created neurobots. I think they created something known as neurobots by introducing neurons into xenobots. And for example, this particular option number 3, where 24% marked it. Everything is correct. Just that this particular part, neuroprecursor cell, by added neuronal precursor cell to anthrobots. It didn't get added to anthropod, it was added to xenobots. That's it. So the pain point of this particular one was you had to look for a problem for this particular VA question. This one was here again the problem was that there was something that was given because this is 1, this is 2, which means because of 1, 2 actually happened. In fact, the reason why people fell for this option, this first pass is also a truth. The second part is also a truth, just that the connection is wrong. That's what happened in this particular one. So the reason why these two questions became painful is because of this sidetracking that happening in these options. So if I move to paragraph jumble, both the paragraph jumble was easy to look at. So I'm not going to solve this. It's sort of very clear. There's a but that is given. He said, who said, Christ said. So there is a connection here. This has to be the start for this one. Even this question was easy to handle. All right. So I've given the explanation for all of this. This one is actually very forced. I just want to explain this, especially for those people who marked option number 1. This is a kind of mistake that you cannot make. Since the dawn of civilization, humans have used technology to make raising children little easier. Suddenly you feel that this has to start the conversation. But you want to use logic, because the sentence immediately after that says, with the explosion of AI, Suskind has gone alarmed. She's very alarmed by a rush to introduce unprecedented technology. There is no connection to this. She's especially concerned about AI companions. These are all connected together. Then the next sentence says, after blank number 3, this sentence says, in human race, Susan traces that history. What history? There is no history mentioned here. Back to prehistoric time, when mothers woven slings to carry infants, they work. Over centuries, new technology have eased the burdens of caregiving. That history, that's the history here. This connection was actually forced. That's the only place for the sentence to exist. Yet, we ended up making mistakes like this in options like this. So it was there for the taking. Every single question was there for the taking, barring obviously this particular odd sentence question. This odd sentence question also there for the taking. So if, let's say, somebody had kept the cool, the move from question to question. In fact, in this particular case, many of these questions you probably would not have had to spend a lot of time with the options. Whenever you see a lie that contradicts, you don't spend too much time with the option. This was clearly a possibility for. Let me actually go. This particular place actually gave you a possibility to evaluate, in fact, all the question. Unless until you pre-decided, I'm going to solve only 3 passages. I'm only going to solve 2 passages. This so keeping it, so this is also an element when it happens. So the only thing you did really well, for example, somebody solved 2 RCs because you decided before the test even started that I'm only going to solve 2 RCs, I'm only going to solve 3 RCs before the test started. You did extract a lot from the individual RCs, which is why the scores have gone up here. But you didn't get here. For you to get to those level, you had to actually move, you actually had to keep an open mind that I don't know what the cat 2020 is going to be. I read the passage at my own pace. I go to a question, I evaluate the question. If it's really confusing, I just move to the next one. And because the question is going to give you marks, if somebody would have kept that in mind, it's quite possible that you probably would have able to handle all the 8 BA questions, at least evaluated all the questions, thereby getting the kind of score that you would have got. That's what I want to say here. Yeah. So that's it. Any questions? I can pick it up. Why is my camera acting very weird? I think time to change the camera. Wait a minute.
Jijo, I think it's good to have a mock like this for one reason, right? Though the percentiles might not change significantly because you have increased marks, but it generally gives a good feeling walking into the next section. So, and if I'm somebody who's banking on my quant and DI, and I'm very scared of verbal, I think it probably for those people this might be a good paper.
Any questions to be pulled? If there are any questions on VA, then I can pick it up. Chalo, okay. DILR.
So let's start with this is the story of DILR. So if you compare the scores of Pro 4, they are pretty much close to CAT 2023. So we had 99.5 percentile at 31, and in this mock 99.5 at 30. And again, 99 percentile is exactly same 27 marks, 97 percentile is exactly 7 at 22 marks. So basically, this mock is with respect to your DILR, it has been very close to 2023, where people say DILR was very tough. So, Jimmy sir, what do you think that DILR was actually that tough? कि मतलब 25 नंबर भी नहीं आ सकते किसी के?
नहीं ऐसा नहीं था. See, first of all, there were 2 sets definitely which one could have solved. But to me, the more important thing is what Jijo every time says, that your job is to attempt question, not to solve sets. So if anyone goes with that mindset and says, okay, let me just pick up the easy question to attempt, there were 4-5 questions which we could have attempted very comfortably. In addition to that, there were about 4-5 questions which you could have used the choices and other stuff, or they could have helped you solve the set. So there was lots of things available. I think it was a difficult paper. I don't have any doubts. It is a paper which is at the same level as CAT 22-23. That also I was very clear. Okay. However, I was hoping that people will be able to pick up the question which will help them solve the data sets. Okay. And there was lots of hints in the paper in the question which could have been very, very useful. But it seems people or the students have not been able to pick up the hints from the questions, and hence they have not been able to do very well in the paper.
Shashank, it might be good to go to those sets wala na agla slide se le jao. Just go to the next slide for us to get an idea maybe.
Slide.
हाँ, पेपर पे बाद में आते हैं. पेपर एक बार मैं दिखाना चाहता हूँ. There are some 5-6 things which I had students picked up that were help them solve the data sets.
और इसमें सेट्स में ग्रीन नहीं है, क्वेश्चंस पे ही ग्रीन है. So I think the students who got a decent score, they have picked up the correct questions. So first set
Actually, I'm a little disappointed with set number 5. I think there were a couple of questions which were easy. The first set, 25-26, I'm glad that they have a 70+% accuracy. However, I'm disappointed with the fact that only less than 50% of students have attempted them. Okay. Set number 3 कौन सा था? If you can just remind me.
Sir,
Let me see if I have the paper. Yeah, I have the paper with me. Just give me a minute. Okay, codes वाला था. हाँ, ठीक है. Codes वाला था. ठीक है. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, and this was a set which I again, while 2 questions people have not been able to solve or have a low accuracy rate, question 36 and 38. I thought question 36 was fairly easy. 36 and 38 or both. Okay. ठीक है.
36 वैसे अटेम्प्ट सबसे ज्यादा है जीपी.
But accuracy बहुत खराब है 36 की.
हाँ, accuracy खराब.
Sir, I think theta.
Of the component P.
So I think theta था, so everyone filled some number. Same as for the last one.
Yeah, it's a very
Theta
random number. How can you just fill any number इसके अंदर? I can understand 0.2 डालने वाला, but इसमें कुछ अजीब सा 3-digit number था ना. Some of the codes of P. That would be a little difficult to even guess. Okay. You really have to. अगर ये आंसर तुम्हारा तुक्का मार के सही हो जाता है, you should start buying lotteries. You'll definitely gain a lot. But ठीक है. Okay. And I'm not really disappointed कि set number 2 लोगों ने कम किया है. But and I also am not disappointed कि set number 4 कम लोगों ने किया है, because set number 2 was lengthy, time consuming, and set number 4 was something which would have, where if you don't get the logic, you'll not be able to solve it. So that's a logic based question, right? So which is why I said 1, 3 and 5 were the ones which were definitely doable. And within these also, you could pick and choose the right questions to attempt and leave the others.
I think the easiest one among all was set number 5.
Actually, set 1 शायद सबसे आसान होगा students के लिए, क्योंकि 5 में थोड़ा सा काम करना पड़ता है, but that's okay. Okay. Question paper पे चलते हैं, Shashank. Let's go to the question paper and then let's just start sharing stuff.
This.
Yeah, this is the first set. Now, once you read the data set, you realize this is a Sudoku kind of a thing. A, B, C, D, all 5 of them, they have a different sequence. In each row, there can only be one. You have to put the ranks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or the sequence of attempt. Okay, and so it is a Sudoku kind of a thing. And this is sufficient for you to solve 2 questions. Okay, Shashank, if you can just scroll down a little, look at question number 25. थोड़ा नीचे चले जाओ शशांक, तो ऊपर टेबल दिखना चाहिए. Maybe you could, instead of 163%, you could make it a little smaller, make it 150%. Yeah, just scroll down a little. Now look at it this way. What is the correct order of at least taking part in horse riding race? Shashank, which is horse riding?
Horse riding is the 4th column.
Okay, yeah. So this clearly tells you A has to be the 3rd. All the 4 choices have A as 3rd. But this also tells you B cannot be 5th. Because B is the 5th event is MC. So HR cannot be 5th. And that means choice number 2 is wrong. Shashank, if you have the pen and you can cross out, to bahut acha rahega. Similarly, if you look at C cannot be rank 3, attempt 3 or 4. That means choice 1 is wrong. Choice 2 to pehle nikal gayi thi. Choice 4 is wrong. The correct answer is 3. So you could have straight away, and the same thing you can do for question number 26 also. Now, what this tells you is that there were 2 questions which you could have done without even filling up the table. And only for the remaining 2 questions, you need to start filling up the tables. If you do only these 2 questions, this is less than 5 minutes of effort, including reading and understanding the data, and then you could have got the answers. Okay? Question 26. Which athlete finished 500 meters of mountain climbing in the least amount of time as per the instruction? That means for which athlete was mountain climbing the first event. So MC has to be event 1. Obviously, it cannot be A. For A, first event was CC. It cannot be A. It cannot be B. It cannot be D. B is fifth event and D is fourth event. There is only one choice.
Okay,
So why do I? Okay, so there were these two questions which were straight away available. If you don't look at the question and choices and you straight away go to solve, you will miss out on such things. Shashank, we can come back to this later. Now go to set number 2. There's something which was interesting there, which had students picked up. They could have saved them maybe a couple of minutes in solving the data set. Yeah. I'm not going to explain what this. Okay, very quickly. Subjects with a positive change are given. Each of these 7 students have applied for re-evaluation in 4 subjects. The subjects in which their marks increased are given out here. The subjects in which their marks did not increase is not given out here. So for Bhavna, we know she applied for re-evaluation in mathematics and her marks increased. But there are 3 other subjects in which she applied for re-evaluation. Her marks did not increase. We don't know which 3 are there. So this data set requires you to find out those subjects and then find out what was the change in each of them in the marks in each of these. Okay. Shashank, just go to the questions. There's a hint given in the question to help you save time. Just scroll down. No, not question 29. Yeah, question 31. What does it say? What is the change in accountancy marks for Bhavna? Does that not tell you Bhavna had applied for evaluation in accountancy? So it has given me extra piece of information which I would not know if I don't look at this table, if I don't look at the question. Okay. Similarly, look at 32. If Gaurav received -1 in physics, that means Gaurav applied for the evaluation in physics. What was the total change in chemistry, etc., etc.? Question 31 and 32 are giving you 2 pieces of information. If you use them, you will be able to save 2 to 3 minutes in filling up this table. And this is a lengthy, time-consuming table. Every small bit of information which you pick up from the questions will help you save time. And this is important. This is the thing which I wanted to highlight. Ishan, go to the third set. Yeah, this one. Just go scroll down a little more. I want to see. This should be. Yeah, this is fine. Now, for Shashank, इसमें नहीं ठीक है Shashank और नहीं चाहिए है. All the codes are 100 to 170 both included. You can just highlight that Shashank, 100 to 170. Okay. Codes are P. The codes for P are prime numbers. Just highlight P prime numbers. Q are ±1 away from perfect square. Just highlight that. And R are even numbers having 6 factors. Okay. Okay. Now, we need to find these codes. Obviously, it will mean I'll have to write down the prime numbers between 100 and 70 and there are conditions given which I can use them. Similarly, I'll have to write down Q, which are ±1, etc. R are even numbers having 6 factors. Now, please look at question number 35. Which assembler received a component that has a code number 124? One of the code numbers is 124. Is it a prime number? No. Is it a square ±1? No. That means it is the code of R. And it has got 6 factors. Verify this is nothing but 2 square into 31. It tells you how to find the other codes for R. One of the code of R is 2 square into 31 as per the conditions given. That means I can now find out the remaining 3 codes for R also. Again, very important information given out here, yet people missed out on this thing, and I'm sure most people would have solved the complete thing. Please pick up information from the question. Look at first 3 sets. We have got some information in each one of them. Yeah.
I would like to add something. ये जो क्वेश्चन नंबर 34 है. So in question number 34, आर इवन नंबर्स, सो बेसिकली आर के 4 ही नंबर होंगे और सबका सम जो होगा वो अपना इवन ही होगा. सो बेसिकली ये ऑप्शन एलिमिनेट हो गया. ठीक है. और उनका जो सम होगा वो डेफिनेटली 680 से कम होगा. मतलब ये भी चला गया.
हाँ.
सो बेसिकली बाकी क्वेश्चंस को देख के मुझे ये लग रहा है कि नॉट बी डिटरमाइन तो नहीं होना चाहिए.
नहीं, ये बात सही है एकदम.
So, एक ही
It cannot be uniquely determined because then the other question you can't answer them. What is the total sum of cones of component P? Okay. Similar. So if you have to be able to and look at statement number 5. Statement 5 is effectively telling you what you're saying is right. Okay. Another thing you could say is in this itself, 994 is not a multiple of 4. Each of the codes of R is a multiple of 4. 994 is not. Answer can only be 552 or cannot be uniquely determined, and by your logic again we can say it is going to be 552. Okay. And I don't think any other question cannot be determined as an option. Okay, na? Range of Q, range of R, and range of P. Sum of P and sum of R, and which is why I was surprised 36 क्यों गलत हो गया, because this was a straightforward kind of a stuff. Okay. If you have found R and Q, you will get P also. If you get 2 of them, you will get the third one also. Okay. Shashank, just go to the next set of data. इसको छोड़ देते हैं शशांक, इसमें कुछ खास मेरे को मिला नहीं था. Go to the last set again. Okay. Now, those of you who have done this set, Shashank, the first thing is it has got a perimeter of 320 meters. It's a rectangle. That means length plus breadth is 160 meters. Okay.
160.
Then if you look at the area, the different sectors within the rectangle are given to us. Shashank, can you just highlight that 20 into 30 onwards, up to 30 into 15? Yeah. Okay. I can get the area. The area comes out to be 6,000. That means length into breadth is equal to 6,000. Length plus breadth is 160. You don't need to solve a quadratic equation to say it has to be 160. And look at what is the first question. Question 43. Dimension in meters for a length into breadth. What is L? 100. Okay. Now, Shashank, I want you to highlight the last line of the paragraph. The sector 20 into 30 shares a boundary with the. Just highlight this part till the end. Yeah, the answer kafi hai. Okay. Now, please look at question 45. If S6 is so placed that it shares boundaries with all other sectors, what could be the dimension in meters of S6? Okay, look at 20 into 30. As per the statement, sector 20 into 30 is hanging in one corner. It is on an vertex. It is touching the two sides, one length and one breadth. So it cannot be touching all sectors. वो तो एक कोने में लटका हुआ है, so it cannot be the part of my answer. That means any choice that contains C is wrong. Okay, only one choice. Okay, so again, the similar thing you could have done in question 46 with a little more amount of work, maybe. Okay, but my point is, look at this set. This has got 2 questions, just straightforward, 42 and 43 and 45. The first set has a couple of questions. Another set had 2 or 3 inputs given to you. That subject wala, that code of 124. If you would have used them, I can assure you would have done at least 2 or 3 questions more than what you have attempted. And this is what I would want you to carry with you, that your job is not to solve a set. Your job is to solve a question. Irrespective of whether you're able to solve the set completely or not, does not matter. Focus on solving the questions. Okay. हाँ, क्वेश्चन 46.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 46 भी तो आसान हो जाएगा. 10
हाँ,
by 20
46 भी सेम है ना. हाँ, वो नीचे छुप गया था ना, इसलिए दिखा नहीं मुझे. S4 sector that shares boundary with only 2 other sectors. Yeah. Okay, so all I'm saying is, if you look at this information, Shashank, if you get the basic figures in place, you'll be able to solve it fast. The only question which is difficult in this set is question 44. Okay.
Yes.
But to my mind, again, I'm saying that if you are able to pick up these things, there are 2 things which happen. One, you save time because you are able to complete the set faster. Second, you are able to solve. You can then decide to leave a few questions which are difficult and move on to the next set. So every set, if you do two, three questions, you have done your job. You don't have to complete any set for all practical purposes. So I'm not saying don't complete a set, but if you think it is going to be time consuming, difficult, you are better off moving to the next set. That is what you should be doing.
In fact, in this set we added as a in the last minute because we wanted one set to be done by all. And this may actually attempts this may come very
इसमें challenge है कि this is you have to put some amount of effort in trying to place those sectors. Okay. So I would say
I think there is one more. I would say there is one more challenge that people look at geometry, people look at figure, they leave it.
ये हो सकता है
कि geometry करना ही नहीं है किसी को, so they tend to leave geometry.
But this is not jump. Okay.
Rectangle
if a figure has to be drawn, it is geometry.
So eventually that's a problem. There's a problem in DLR. Na? You fall for looks. You assume looks. That's a big problem, right? So and then I think this. I don't know how many times we have said this. Marks gonna come from questions. There'll be enough questions that you can get 30 marks easily. I think that here I think that you counted at least 6 तो इधर मैंने पकड़ना आपका.
6 सवाल तो थे बैठे हुए. 18 marks were there for the picking, and you could have got these 18 marks in something like 20 minutes, if not more, if not less. Sorry.
That actually means this idea that at the end of the day, marks going to come from questions. Just because I invested time in a set doesn't mean that I have to sit and solve all the 4 questions. It is very similar to RC also. I think bringing preconceived notion into the paper. Okay, just because one type of questions to paint you the last mock cannot be the same kind of question is going to paint you now. I think you got to make decisions completely on what you see on the screen on that day. Okay, read it at your own pace, pick up information, go through the questions, pick up additional information, figure out which are the things that is easy to handle, pick up as much as you can. And if you feel that one question is going to take extra bit of time, all right, I'm going to invest my time in some other question somewhere else. I think that kind of attitude, you build it early, it's going to help you. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So there was a question, like I'll pick up a couple of questions. Okay. DILR, how do I set selection because of one? Okay. Happy Masters, I have already created video for each of the mocks on set selection, which is called the DILR overview. I have a similar video for quant overview also. So please go to your boost analysis. There you'll find the overview videos of DILR for each of the mocks. Please go through them. I give the logic and the reason as to what you should be looking for when you are picking up a set. Okay.
One other thing. Sorry. The one other thing I want to say is you are picking of the sets. It's very dynamic, right? You picking the set that you believe you can solve is by a way of initial analysis that you did. Now, if we start investing time, if we feel that the set is painful, okay, don't immediately assume that this I have to completely invest time on the set. You can always choose to move on. You're making an initial assessment of which set you believe is going to be crackable. But for some reason, if you find it is painful, you can always. So, for example, what you're telling me here is that upon analyzing, I feel that I could have picked another set which was faster solved. Right. So obviously, one other thing that I would want to tell you is ask yourself what should have done differently to look at that particular set. Right. That's number one. Number two is that could you have actually at some point in time, if you got stuck in a particular set of question, if you had moved on, would you have dealt with that particular the set? Could have handled the particular set. That's it.
Jijo, from the same person, another question, and that is for you. I think it is talking about verbal. VRC. Request for VRC. Could you do a live attempt someday? Okay. So we'll look at that.
Yes, I can.
Okay, सार्थक says सेट 1 करते करते टाइम चला गया. सार्थक पहले 2 सवाल करके छोड़ के आगे चल देना था.
तुम तो टाइम को ब्लेम मत कर. Okay, I think that sitting and blaming time. What is time moves away? Time goes at your pace. Your decision is a problem. You ask yourself why you made the decision, why you got stuck in the particular set.
सार्थक, minute detail में तो जाना होगा. Exam pressure or no exam pressure, it is the pressure which you are putting up for yourself. You are putting yourself under pressure. Don't treat it like an exam. And again, one of the things which you need to remember is what exam pressure does is it makes you move fast. You will have to deliberately slow down and tell yourself this is slowing down and reading the data carefully, looking at each piece of information carefully is not time wastage. It is an investment of time which will help me save time later on and get my answers fast, correct. So that's something you have to do. You don't have an option. Okay.
Sarthak is blaming everything outside. So the pressure
लेकिन
is
time
coming
तो
from
सबके
somewhere
लिए
else.
same है ना.
I think I'm not condescending you or anything. I think that you have to understand something is at the end of the day, if you have a certain competence that you're building, right? If you can't execute in the particular paper, what is the point in building the competence that you build? So there are only three things. You build the competence, and for you to execute, you got to trust the competence that you built. Right. So, which means when you're looking at a particular set, if it is confusing, you have to tell yourself it's going to be confusing for all. I am making the right kind of decisions. And if you say that I'm going to miss details like this is not minute details. No, what do you mean minute details? There is one set and 5 questions, and that's all you have. What do you mean the details are minute? These are all details that is available to you, and you have to create a way in which you should be able to figure out what is each data telling me, what information data is telling me, how can I use this particular data. There is nothing minute in this case, right?
Yeah, chalo, let's move to quant.
Quant will be as usual greens, and all
Lots
the
of greens.
blacks are down. ऐसे होगा ना?
Attempt
Lots
at
of
the score.
greens. The attempts are all low.
I can predict.
I got मतलब data में so if you look at 99.5 percentile, that is 45, 99, 42. So basically, when we had
It
open
looks like
open,
sorry. It actually looks like CAT 2020 distribution.
Yeah,
this,
एकदम वैसा ही है.
but when you look at the data of quant in offline test, the open one में story ही change हो जाती है कि उसमें 99.5 45 में नहीं आ रहा, उसमें 35 पे पहुंच जाता है. So I'm
Yeah,
not
but
sure why it is.
Yeah, but open May that many students took the paper at the exam center also. That definitely creates a pressure of its own. But to me, what Shivku said and what Jijo you have said, average attempt is about 35%. On an average, lots of greens, but very, very disappointed with the attempt.
Before the test even starts, people have made decision in terms of what kind of questions I'm going to solve, what kind of question I'm not going to solve. The decision is made at home before the test even starts, and then you're kind of prejudging, telling yourself that the things that you know is going to be easy in the paper. I think that's an assumption. Na? The question is easy or difficult on the merit of how the question is designed, not based on the topic or anything. You have to build competence across. If you don't build competence across, what is going to happen is that if you kind of your preparation is like I'm only going to focus on certain type of the questions or set only arithmetic algebra and I'm going to leave things like this, you're going to miss out things. I think this is promoc number 4. If I have to sit and say the same comment in promoc number 13 or 14, then there is no point, right? The earlier you realize it, the better is it for you. Yeah.
Actually 68 तो बहुत आसान वाला था ना, वो A plus B plus C वाला था ना कुछ वो. That arithmetic में progression and geometric progression.
Yeah, 1 by A plus 1 by B plus 1 by C.
हाँ वही था ना. I'm surprised. उसमें अच्छा शशांक Shivku, I remember people would be trying to get the individual values of A, B and C. You get the combined value of A plus C and you get the single value of B. I think वो issue था. चलो.
ये वाला.
हाँ. तो इसमें लोग मेरे ख्याल से ABC अलग अलग ढूंढने में लगे होंगे. ठीक है शशांक ऊपर चले जाओ let's quickly go through the paper. I made the overview video, the jugaad video I could not make today. I'll do that tomorrow. 47, 48 were easy and accuracy rate भी high है. Again, 49 is something I did not like the question, but बाद में समझ आया क्या करना है. पेपर के टाइम पे तो समझ नहीं आया था, so I skipped this question. Okay. So I'm sure 50 also is not a problem. 51 is a very, very interesting question. This was a round 2 question. If you draw the figure, and if you only know that the base is, if the base doubles, the area will double. If the altitude doubles, the area will double. If no, you only want this thing, you can solve it completely. It will take a little time. Draw a neat and clean figure and you will get it right. Okay. 52, 53, standard questions. 54, we can again. 54 is another question I did not want to attempt. 55, Shivku, ये typical question है जब CAT में आए थे last year. The same thing, a second condition has been created and based on that you have to solve. So the length of the question has been increased unnecessarily is what I would say. But from the point of view of CAT 25, that was the paper, the length of question was increased. You were made to do extra work to get to the answer.
Who created question 54?
I did not guess. I tried solving it and skipped.
It's an interesting question, no, Jijo?
So I'm thinking there has to be, but there is negative numbers also, no, which creates a problem.
Yes.
Correct. That is precisely the negative numbers that creates the problem. And since the choices are small, na, somebody, I was thinking कि GP शायद वो करके देखेगा.
हाँ, नहीं शिवकू मेरे दिमाग में आया था. Start making cases. कितने cases? Maximum 13 cases ना, and small numbers.
हाँ, बिल्कुल. 11 cases चाहिए.
-3, -2, -C0, -C1, -C2, -C plus 3 cases बन गए. Similarly, do with -2. Write down all the cases, you'll get the answer. But painful.
Yeah. That's the only way to solve. No? There is nothing. There's no.
No, even you have a logic. I think that there's a logic that how you should place or where you should place the positive numbers, because you have two negatives.
So you have to do R&D on this. I think the best thing is to just multiply it, put all the figures, and then
There's no R&D in the paper, obviously, Chijo. No R&D. Just multiply, write down the cases, whatever products are there, and then check.
Yeah.
So the thing about this, the number of greens that you see, na, for people for whom it clicks, na, they will do it in a jiffy. So there are lots of thinking types of questions in this paper.
Yeah, there are.
Look at question number 56.
And Shivku, most of these thinking kind of questions I have left.
Thinking is a waste of time, na?
In the paper, it's a waste of time.
It is.
But 56 हो गया था. 56 तो कर लिया था.
वो 56 में वो लॉजिक लगना चाहिए ना कि किसी को ये पता होनी चाहिए अच्छा नंबर्स आइडेंटिकल होंगे.
हाँ, नहीं ये तो समझ गए थे. Even if there are four different weights, you will have at least 4 sums. So the number of weights cannot be more than 3.
Correct.
Or rather, they have to be 3 exactly. क्योंकि अगर if there were only 2 weights, then again you would have.
नहीं जीपी 2 से भी होगा.
2 में भी 3 आ जाता ना. 2 में भी 3 आ जाता. हाँ. Correct. So maximum 3 weights हो सकते हैं. यही starting point था मेरा.
Correct. बस वो अगर लग गया तो उसके बाद हो जाएगा. 57 is
it's a straightforward question, शिवकू.
हाँ.
नहीं इसमें क्या जुगाड़ है शिवकू कि मैं जुगाड़ नहीं लगाया, मैं सॉल्व किया. I solved it like a quadratic equation.
13 by 144 is 1 by 12 into 13 by 12.
Okay.
So a number. So left side देखो, okay, there is a number and the next number is one more than that.
Yeah.
So x minus 3 into x minus 2 is 1 by 12 into 13 by 12 or minus 13 by 12 into minus 1 by 12.
ये नहीं strike किया था.
उससे आ जाएगा 2 values of x. सीधा.
13 by 44 is like a painful to think in that way.
If you kind of cross multiply and all that, it's a pain.
मैं तो क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई किया था शिवकू. ठीक है.
हाँ.
So straight away x square minus 6 minus 5x plus 6 equal to this thing करके फिर मैंने वही किया था. ठीक है. But you are right. ये मुझे तो नहीं स्ट्राइक किया था कि 13 by 144 can be written in this way. But you are absolutely right. These are two numbers. It is effectively a into a plus 1 left hand side.
Correct. A into a plus 1. Correct. So 1 by 12 into 13 by 12 or minus 13 by 12 into minus 1 by 12.
Yeah. 58 ठीक है. 15 59 में भी लोगों को तकलीफ हुई होगी.
It is Indigo flight ना, तकलीफ होगा ही.
But it is not difficult इसमें. Again, clarity आनी चाहिए कि angle क्या बन रहा है. कि that perpendicular distance is what you're looking for, and then it should be doable. 60 तो बहुत अच्छा सवाल है. ये स्टैंडर्ड अपना जुगाड़ वाला क्वेश्चन है. 61 शिव को मैंने खाली लिख लिया. 1 square plus 2 square 3 square 4 square 5 square लिखा, आंसर मिल गया. Because it is talking about sum of odd natural numbers ना. Sum of first 3 odd natural numbers is 9. Sum of first 4 odd natural numbers is 16. Sum of first 5 odd natural numbers is 25. 3 square 4 square 5 square. Then you can solve it. So just write down. So I did not use anything else out here. 63 again I substituted. I took P and R as 10 and 10, Q and S as 101 into 1. Substitute, get the answer. These are standard jugaad where you see an alphabet, replace it with a number.
P and Q R as 10 and 10. ठीक है.
हाँ, क्योंकि log base 10 दिया हुआ है ना सब में तुमने. Log base 10 Q, log base 10 R, log base 10 S, log base 10 P. So I said let Q and R be 10 and 10. And P and R, Q into S is 101. It's a prime number, so I don't have an option. So 101 into 10 to the power 0. So substitute, get the answer. 16 was
64 अपना नॉर्मल सही क्वेश्चन है.
Yeah, because
Time
typically
लगेगा,
you get
but
question where the replacement happens with pure item. Okay, whether replacement happens with pure milk or pure water or pure gold or pure copper. Here the replacement is happening with a 25% gold, 75% copper. So उसमें confusion हुई होगी, but so if you get confused with this, you should leave it.
इसमें एक और भी है जो आपके you're substituting a 8,000 per kg alloy with a 5,000 per kg alloy. तो आपका जो continuously the average cost has to come down.
Come down, yeah.
तो पहले choice नहीं हो सकता है. Or when you do it the three times, you're actually removing 20% ना each time.
Each time.
तो आपका you are
51%
eroding
आ जाएगा approximately.
हाँ, eroding about close to about 50% of the value. तो आंसर आना चाहिए between 8,000 and 5,000 mid value. तो आंसर 6,500 के आसपास होना चाहिए.
That's right.
So the choices are far apart for you to make a guess what will be the answer.
देखो मेरे को जो पेपर था ना उसमें choices अलग थी. Maybe you made it easier later on.
I did.
Because all the 4 choices in the paper with me were 6,200, 6,400, 6,500, 6,700.
Yeah, so I made it easier saying that spread out the choices. So students, this is what students would have seen.
Yeah. The next question, what is it?
ये तो बिल्कुल आसान है. Either
65.
people know it or they don't know it.
The pyramid वाला.
नहीं यार शिवको, people don't know this funda that volume is nothing but area of one side multiplied by the third side, or the area of base into altitude.
Correct.
And अगर कौन आएगा तो 1/3 करना है. ये बहुत लोगों को नहीं मालूम होता. 66 would be straightforward. 67, I just use a simple thing. I assume the number of oranges to be 70x. क्योंकि बाद में 3/7 करना है तो हमारे 70x करके जल्दी से हो जाता है.
बहुत इसमें 68 भी आसान है.
68 is easy, which is why I was surprised.
कि 68 में रेडिश बहुत है.
Which is why I asked you the कौन सा ये. 68 was among the difficult questions.
ये भी मेरे ख्याल से तुक्का लगा दिया होगा लोगों ने.
नहीं शिवकू, इसमें होता क्या है, इसमें B you are able to get very fast as under root 2. You don't get A and C separately, you get A plus C. So if you miss out that you are getting A plus C, then you are going to possibly struggle. But ठीक है. So, but overall I would say it was an easy quant paper, lengthy, but definitely doable. If this was an actual CAT paper, people would have got about 6 to 8 marks lesser than what they are getting now, because that exam pressure would have made sure कि थोड़ा सा marks दिए जाते.
तो DI of combo of DI and quant together, हम सोच रहे थे कि I think the good guys must be able to manage about 65, between 65 and 70, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. That was the idea.
I think होगा. So about 40 plus 30 is what is you can assume इसके अंदर, or let's say 45 plus 25 kind of stuff.
Correct.
So 65 odd का रहा होगा इसके अंदर. शशांक एक बार PPT पे वापस चले जाओगे?
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Sir, I think my screen got hanged.
Oh. So I'll remove this. Shivu, do you have the PPT? Or let me just download the PPT.
I have the PPT. I can share it.
Yeah, Jijo. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Go here, no?
Yeah. Yeah, Shivu, look at 68. Okay. If I look at question 49, I don't have a problem with 49 being difficult. 51 कौन सा था? 49, 51. 51 was that triangle wala tha. I think, guys, 51, please go through the solution of 51. Very important you understand, because your basic funda of geometry will get cleared if you do this question. Okay. Question 51. 52 is something, again, you need to look at the solution. Again, it's a standard question which you should be able to solve. Okay. Then we have 54, 56. 54 को तो छोड़ देते हैं. 56 was that Jijo, 54 was that question that -3 -2013.
Okay.
56 is that question of 142 kg, 150, 158 kg. Please go through the solution. This will explain the concept why we are saying only 3 weights are possible. Okay, so cases have to be made, but that funda concept clarity के लिए important है ये. 62 again. If you look at question 62, it is about a decagon. Now, what you need to remember, every polygon, in a regular polygon, all the vertices are on the circumference of the circle. That was the basic funda which was being used out here. It is talking about the right angles. So, every diameter to a vertex will make a triangle which is a right triangle. Okay, because angle in a semicircle is a right angle. So again, all I'm saying is these days, please look at the funda behind each of these questions so that you're able to get it right next time anything similar comes. Okay. Let's see if there are any questions on quant. Nahi hai koi.
There is a next slide. I think something has been mentioned here.
Yeah. What next? RT99.
मेरा फोटो है. I didn't know this.
RT99 का है ना अभी सेक्शन आने वाला है. First and second, do register. We'll be talking about all kind of jugaad solutions for quant DILR and verbal as to how to improve in them. And in the past, students have definitely increased their scores significantly by following the techniques which we share in these sessions. Okay. So 1st and 2nd August, do register. It is available in your My Zone also to the registration process. Please go ahead and do that. Okay.
This is the open CDC. This is the on the at center, right?
This is at center.
So please don't miss this one. This is August 8th and 9th. Mark your calendar now. Ensure that you're not taking at home. This is not there. Okay, so we have to take the send at that center. Okay, there you go. Those are the two things. All right, let's.
Ciao. Okay then.
Okay. Right. Bye. Good night, Jijo.
Bye. Good night.